Hey, how's it going? It's Robin Smith, and it's time for the Robin Smith Show for Sunday, March 2nd, 2025. Thanks for tuning in. It's a solo show, no guest today, although I did have the one and only Kylie Feller on last episode. She's Canadian. I think she was born in Canada. I can't remember that, but I know she lives there. Well, not all year round, but I believe she's Canadian. The reason why I bring that up is I wonder what she thinks about Canada becoming the 51st state. I didn't ask her. I rambled about Elon and Trump, saying that I would talk about that on a future episode, and here we are. Can talk about that nonsense on a solo show where I don't have a guest. Yeah. It's obviously bizarre that Elon is standing in the cabinet meeting. You hear about this? The first cabinet meeting, Elon is not a cabinet member. Department of Government Efficiency is not actually a official department. Every month, we get closer and closer to the Onion being real. We are the real paper and the Onion are becoming one and the same. They're merging. They're melding. They're mind melding. Speaking of mind melding, by the way, Kai Dickens of the Telepathy Tapes podcast, Telepathy Tapes documentary, she went on Rogan. And why is that worth mentioning? Well, if you've tuned in before and you listen to me talk about the Telepathy Tapes, you know, by going on Rogan clearly boosts the audience, eyeballs, ears, listenership. So the exposure for that phenomenon is, and other spiritual gifts. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the Telepathy Tapes. I think it's telepathytapes.com. But yeah, just the fact that Kai Dickens, the host of that show, went on Rogan, that just means, more people. It's going to be, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering when will that show up in like a science section of PBS NewsHour, or show up in the Washington Post, or show up in like mainstream media as opposed to Podcastistan. But anyway, back to Elon being weird. What the fuck? What's going on? I have nothing to say about it other than it's weird. He's pissing a lot of people off, and I'm not one of them. I think because I am not in activism mode. I think if I were in my 20s, I'd probably be signing more petitions and be, posting shit on social media and be more outraged, but I'm just not. I am in my lane of, I don't know what to call it, spiritual healing. I'm in my lane of healing and therapy and, helping people heal themselves. It's funny, the heart, apparently, I didn't know this, the heart doesn't heal. The heart's the only organ. I guess it's also a muscle, right? Isn't the heart technically a muscle? We call it an organ because it is an organ. Heart is a muscle or organ. It's both. The heart is both a muscle and an organ. Hooray! I am now the equivalent of a 6th grade biology student. Muscular organ made of a special type of muscle tissue. So yeah, so the heart it can't heal. It can't heal. And now, of course, I'm talking about your physical heart can't heal. Is that true, though? See, because I'm in the world of, whoa, my microphone. It's going away from me. It's saying, Robin, switch subjects. This is not, whoa. The emotional heart can heal. That's the lane I'm in. That is the swim lane I'm in. I don't know. Should I be paying more attention to Elon and Trump? I don't know. I have this kind of like, maybe naive, maybe ignorant, I don't know what you want to call it, but I have this faith and trust that things are going to work out. I have this optimism and this hope that no matter how many people get needlessly stressed out, indeed harmed by the actions of the Trump administration or the unelected Elon Musk, yeah, I'm hopeful that it's all going to work itself out, and I'll leave the activism to others. Now, there's a part of me, obviously, that when I even hear myself say that out loud, it's like, okay, that's the slippery slope. That's how if you don't participate in like accountability, or if you don't keep yourself educated as a civilian about what's happening, that's how you slide into Nazi Germany or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. That part is welcome, but the vast majority of me it doesn't want to waste energy on all that. I don't know. Anyway, I don't think I mentioned at the top here. I guess local listeners, there was a shooting at Columbia Mall on Saturday. See, I heard from my personal trainer, actually subsection here when I was driving to there's all the tangents right now. ADHD, I am fully in the clutches of the ADHD demon, okay? I was driving to the gym, and I was behind this car, and I saw a bumper sticker, and it was the Superman logo. And I remembered to myself, I was like in my 30s when I realized that the Superman logo was an S, okay? Like it was just like I didn't see the S. I was just like, yeah, that's the Superman logo. Bunch of random shapes. And when I saw the S for the first time, I was like, oh, it's a weird S. I have some sort of blindness. I don't know, like the Baskin Robbins logo. You know how the capital B, and the I think it's the R, right? Baskin Robbins. They make the 31 flavors, right? The B and the R are next to each other, I didn't see the 31 until I was probably in my 30s. Anyway, okay, back to the Columbia Mall shooting. So I'm at the gym, and my trainer is telling me about this, and I was just like, I had on the podcast now, I don't know, 2 years ago, Mark Donovan, talking about when there was a shooting at Columbia Mall back in like the 90s, or maybe it was the early 2000s. So I was just associating to that, and it just happened this past Saturday. Apparently this guy, I think he's 18 years old, and he was on he was in like a program for youth who are have a record, right? I think he had like a charge of attempted murder prior, and he's in this program where it's like he doesn't have to go to jail, but he's on like house arrest, maybe, where they have like the ankle monitor, but he broke his lockdown status or detention status, like he was walking around places, and anyway, so he ended up shooting and killing, allegedly he shot and killed a 10th grader. And there was I was watching the news report. I don't remember what outlet, but like some lady, not the journalist, not the reporter, but like whoever was they played some clip. They just played this one lady. She was sitting in front of a microphone, and she said one quote. She said, "We have to punish abhorrent behavior to get the behavior to stop." And I was just thinking, like, so in my swim lane, it's like punishment. I understand that actually punishment seems to yield like the results that you're looking for. Like, beat your kid with a switch or a wooden spoon or a belt or whatever, and you have now gotten the behavior to stop through fear of punishment, right? But like that, in my view, this is a terrible approach. It wastes a lot of energy, and it perpetuates harm and trauma and separation, right? Disconnection. And I just like I feel like that is, I don't know, there's something really hot and fiery inside of me that wants to change how we connect and integrate in the criminal justice system rather than disconnect and disintegrate. Like this guy, I don't know, 18 years old, maybe he gets put away for years and years. I don't know, but like what he needs, and I will be so bold as to claim I know Sounds very arrogant, okay? But it seems to me, all right, I'll use that language. It seems to me that what he needs is healing. That is why. And the reason why I have this perspective, well, let me finish that sentence. That is why he has now impacted another, no, not only the person's life who's now dead. I think there were two. There's one teen who's killed and one who's like in critical condition, okay? As of the tape, I'm recording this on Thursday, February 27th. But like the family members of that kid, or the people who are like, oh, that kid was in my homeroom. He was fucking, did you hear what happened to Billy? Killed at, so there's, it perpetuates fear and grief and sorrow and sad. And what the kid needs is healing. Something's not right. Okay. So Troubled Teens, this program or whatever, the ASAP program, I can't remember what it stands for, but that's like the program he was in. And, yeah, we don't need to punish the behavior. I mean, it's not about punishing. And the reason why I have this perspective is because I'm going into realms in trance states with clients where their block to healing is the fear of being punished, the fear of being judged, the fear of being punished. And there are these beings in the inner world that once they know they won't be judged and won't be punished, they can actually loosen their grip and let go of the emotional heart. They can let go, and then when they heal, the inner ones, when they heal, then the person on the outside, like for myself, I'll use myself as an example. I've got beings inside of me, okay? But when I heal those beings, now I, Robin, am now more harmonious and loving towards my neighbor, say. So yeah, whenever I hear that language of like, oh, we have to punish, I'm just like, all you're doing is perpetuating harm. That's all you're doing. Probably more than that. And I don't want to minimize it and say, oh, that's all you're doing. It's probably much more than just perpetuating harm. So I don't know. That's my fucking soapbox, and I want to bring more healing to those who need it, before tragedy strikes. So I'm very curious about to what degree a program like this that helps, teens who are mixed up in the criminal justice system, they're trying, obviously the intentions are always good most of the time, right? Like usually it's safe to assume someone has good intentions, right? It's like the program is trying to help these kids. But where might it be failing them? When something like this happens, an understandable reaction to that would be like, well, okay, if it was my daughter who was gunned down in Columbia Mall by this guy, like obviously a part of me would be like, what the fuck? Why was he allowed, right? Why was he allowed to just, he was already, he already got, he already had an attempted murder charge, and then you just put an ankle monitor on him, and then he gets to go to the mall and murder my daughter, right? I would be outraged, right? But that's also that's the fear. That's it is fear. That's the anger and the rage, and the fear that something like that could happen again. You don't want that to happen again. So I'm not suggesting, I don't even know what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is where can programs like the one that this young man was attempting to be served by, where can these programs incorporate effective healing, right? When someone's getting in trouble at school, when someone's getting in trouble with the law, they need help. And that help is not these sort of counteractive measures of punishment and behavioral programs. I just don't see that. I think the most thorough and effective way to help people who are troubled is to meet them with compassion, with respect, treat them with personhood. I'm in a consult group, and there are professionals who work with rapists. I mean, the people who they cause, when they come into the system, the people who are there to, whose job is to work with them are like disgusted by them or angry with them. So they're getting all this negative energy, and their humanity gets overlooked. And one of the ways that people can heal is when they can be treated with dignity and not overlook their humanity. I want like programs like that, the ASAP program. Let me look this up so that you don't. I'm just curious. Columbia shooting. ASAP stands for Emmett Sinzia. Okay, that's his name. But what is this ASAP program? I'm not going to find it. Whatever. Am I making sense? Does any of this make sense? I'm gonna. There's two other things that I want to ramble about here before I go. No closing argument, no closing thoughts here. I want these programs to incorporate more effective and thorough healing modalities. There, that's not just so that my own daughter won't get shot at a mall. It's for the whole community, for everyone, including the parents of those who are disturbed and in need of help, right? And them as such, the person who is in need of help. I don't know. I'm sure more on that later. Have you ever had like a thing that kind of sat in your history or your memory, and you're like, I wish I could do that over again, and then the universe gives you a second shot, and you get to do it over again? I had this very palpable experience at the grocery store. One of my friends, Hillary Cole, she's been on the show. I used to live with her when I was an undergrad student at Salisbury University, and I was such a joker and a rapscallion, a ragamuffin. I don't know. I don't know what it was. I was trying to be provocative or to be goofy or be funny, but as a 19-year-old or 20-year-old or however the fuck old I was at a grocery store, and this old lady, I think Hillary was with me. She must have been my roommate, so it must have been it had to have been junior year or senior year. Anyway, she was with me. So I think if I was alone, I might not have done this. I think it was because Hillary was with me. Maybe I'm remembering the wrong. Anyway, so let me get to the story. So this old lady, I'm at the grocery store. I'm in an aisle, and this old lady goes, "Excuse me, young man, could you reach that for me?" And I look at her and I go, "No." And the look on her face is like she's not expecting that look. And I say, "Oh, of course, I'm kidding. I'm kidding." I'm like, "Of course." And I reach and I get the baked beans or whatever it is she wants me to. And that was funny to me and to whoever was with me. I think perhaps Hillary was with me. But it wasn't funny. It's like, know your audience. Like, the old lady didn't find it funny. And so I'm just this like asshole, right? So yesterday, I'm in the grocery store with my girls, different audience. And I think, again, if I was by myself, I probably would have just acted like a normal, well-raised young man, right? But so the old lady in the grocery store, here she is again, the archetypal old lady that asks for help from the youth, right? "Excuse me, would you reach that for me?" And I swear to God, I just like immediately went back to that memory of like, let me do it right this time, And I reached the thing, I give it to her. I don't even know if my girls were paying attention. It didn't matter. It was, for me, it was so personal about like the second chance, Anyway, not to get all sappy, but the last thing I want to say is that even Instagram, when I go on Instagram, I'm going to do it now so that I understand what I'm trying to say and it makes sense to you. When I click on Instagram, there's a thing that happens. Is it search? Yeah, okay. When I hit the magnifying glass, okay, like right now, what I'm seeing is Jim Carrey, Kramer, Ross from Friends, The Incredible Hulk, some guy cleaning a big giant squid, Larry David, Darth Maul, Jon Stewart. Okay, but it's 12:14 in the afternoon. Now, if I click the search icon at 9:14 p.m., you know what Instagram's going to show me? A bunch of tits, okay? It knows that I'm a heterosexual man. When I scroll on Instagram, I'm usually there for, entertainment or comedy. I'm not there to get my news. It knows that I also am very fond of like animal videos where like someone's helping an animal that's like injured or, gives a lost, like, what are those? Sloth, like a baby sloth. The human hands this little baby sloth up to the mommy sloth and they're reunited or whatever. Like helping a fox get its paw out of a bear trap, like shit like that. Okay. But because it's 9:15 p.m. or whatever, because it's later in the evening, it's like, we know you're a heterosexual man. Like we want to keep you. It's like this fucking, I don't know. Like we want to keep you on screen, So here's some titties. And I just see it. And my reaction is not like, oh, those are tits, let me like scroll through them. My reaction is like, I know what you're trying to do. Clearly, I'm a heterosexual man, and I'm not. It's like it's gross, right? Like that the technology is going to just do whatever it can. Let me like hijack your evolutionary impulses. Let me hijack your biology. We already know you. We've profiled you as a heterosexual man, and we know that doesn't work, on your lunch break. But hey, it's 10:30 at night. You want to look at these? It fucking. Ugh. The fact that I'm activated about it means there's things to work on in myself. I've got some sexual demons probably that I need to work on. I really do believe that. I really do. Again, just to kind of like wrap it home, bring it home, if you have things inside of your mind, images, impulses, behaviors, addictions, whatever it is, just know that if it brings you shame or if it influences you to act in ways that you're scared, I just want you to know that that's not you. It's not you. Those are beings inside of you, and they've got something inside of them. Okay? The Russian nesting doll is my favorite analogy for this, right? You are the doll on the outside. That's you. And then take that top off and pull the doll that's inside, pull that one out. Okay, that's one of your parts. And that part may not be fully wholesome. That part may have some stuff that it does that it's ashamed of, okay? But that's only because it's a fully perfect part, but it's got, take the next Russian nesting doll top off and pull out the little doll inside of that one. There's something inside of that part, okay, that doesn't belong to that part. It's not who that part really is. But when it infects that part, or like a virus, like a mind virus, it gets that part to behave in certain ways, which, that part's in you. So it basically gets you, the outermost Russian nesting doll, to behave in certain ways that then you think, oh, that's me. I'm fucked up. Like I gotta fix myself, or I gotta push this part of myself away into the shadows so that no one knows how fucked up I am. It's like, so I just want to say, like, that's not you. It's something inside of you. And indeed, probably more likely, more accurately, it's something inside of the thing that's inside of you. And that's my swim lane, the ancestral healing, the unwhole spirits, the unclean, or the unhealed is really the unhealed beings. Okay, all right, that's enough. That's enough madness rambling at you. No songs this time. Yeah, and I don't think I have any. Oh, I have some guests coming up, but they haven't been on the books yet, confirmed. So I'm not going to talk about them yet. Because I've definitely done that before. I'm like, hey, I got so-and-so on the and then that interview doesn't work out. Anyway, there's also been this thing like in my audio interface where it's like it's making this weird sound. I can hear it right now in my headphones, but I hope it doesn't come through on your end. I'm going to have to listen to part of this episode and see what's going on here. It's not just, that's a different sound now. I'm looking across my my street and I see There are workers. My neighbor's having 2 new bathrooms put in. So it's not the circular saw. It's something else. Anyway. All right. Take care of yourselves. Love you all. Thank you again for listening, as always. And until next time. The Robin Smith Show is produced by me, Robin Smith. Executive produced by Robin and Kelly Glenn Smith at Team Robley. Theme song by The Very Small. The show is engineered by one of my alters, Games Nabisco. Listeners can get in touch by calling or texting the hotline at 301-458-0883. Messages can be sent to robinsmithshow@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow the show on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Disclaimer. This podcast is for general information purposes only and does not constitute the practice of medicine, psychotherapy, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. Note: no therapist-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information is at the listener's own risk. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnoses, or treatment. Listeners should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have and should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.